ahead and just see, and that was the recording in progress. I got it most of the way, Kathy, but I missed some at the beginning, so I'm glad you're on top of it now. All right, well, we'll go ahead and officially start our meeting. I have my coffee cup, so we can ding it there. That's our bell for today. Would love to just ask everybody to go ahead and mute themselves for now. And as if the time comes for you to jump in, just either raise your hand or unmute yourself and we'll give you the ability to talk. So we're gonna start with our Pledge of Allegiance, actually. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. And Kathy, do you have a flag for us? Last week, thank you, Ted, for getting your flag out at the last minute, but we will have the official flag here. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. All right, and the four-way test of all the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, what's the fifth one? Will it be fun? Right. Yes, we are always going to make it fun here. Thank you, Kathy, so much for showing those. I really appreciate it. And then I'll go ahead, right, and call on Maggie, who has our invocation today.
Hi, guys. So I was just thinking about this morning because I don't often get to shop. I get to shop in the winter when it's crummy outside, when people can't come in and volunteer, and I get to shop a lot during pandemics. So I guess I have gotten to shop a lot lately. But last week I shopped with this woman named Pam. And for those of you that don't know, when I say shop at Bridging, I mean, I get to walk with a client through our warehouse and help them pick out all the furniture, dishes, towels, bedding, all that good stuff. And everybody who comes into Bridging is referred to us by about 230 agencies. So Catholic Charities, the counties, Lutheran Social Services, that sort of thing. So they've gotten housing, they come to Bridging. So I was walking around with this lady, Pam, last week, and Pam was quiet. Pam didn't have many opinions on things, and she didn't seem to be enjoying herself, which is totally fine. I have no idea what brought Pam to Bridging. She had a lot on her mind. And then one of our volunteers ran out into the warehouse mid-appointment and said, "Oh, I'm so glad to tell you, Pam, but so people can pick out beds, used beds here at Bridging, but some agencies actually purchase new beds for their clients." I didn't know this was going on in the background. I just knew Pam wasn't having a good time. Anyhow, the volunteer ran out and said, "Your agency approved 2 brand new full bed sets for you." And Pam just started crying. And she said, "Been such a grump, it's been sleeping on the floor for so long." She said, "I didn't think that they were going to approve these beds." And so then we had an amazing time the rest of the appointment. So Pam had 3 kids. They were sleeping on the floor. I had no idea. She didn't share that with me. And so then it was super joyful. So anyways, being a Bridging like totally changes my perspective like every day. So if I'm grumpy, really turns it around. So anyway, just thought I would share that with you. But I also have one more thing I want to share. I'm not going to play it right now because it's 9 minutes, but I'm going to share a link in the chat. It's a really good TED Talk I watched yesterday on the different types of rest. Rest is not just sleep. And I thought it was really great and I wanted to share it today. So I'm just putting that little YouTube link there. So I recommend you watch it at some point. I don't know if anyone here watches TEDx Talks, but I love them. So that's what I got today. That's my Lives We Touch.
Awesome. Thank you, Maggie. I can hear how powerful of an experience that was for you. And we're so happy to be behind you and supporting Bridging all the way and people like Pam. Yeah, excellent. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is have an opportunity to do some happy dollars. And I'm going to let Jan again remind us, where do our happy dollars go, Jan?
Well, as we talked about last week, happy dollars go for the last, I can't quite do it that much. That's all the happy dollars are going to cover. But what is that? That is how much we have to do to get done with polio plus. And what I, because I'm the guy that can say this, is that we're having a campaign for $20 Happy Dollars. $20, and each one of those goes into our Polio Plus fund. Each one of those helps make this gap smaller. Thank you.
All right, so I'd love to hear some adventurous happy dollars, and I will go ahead and start. This weekend, we were able to take the kids skiing, and that is my absolutely happy place. We were up at Wild Mountain, and I was in high school when I learned how to ski, and my kids are 8. And so we just had so many laughs. We went late in the afternoon. We got there about 3, and there was a ton of people, but by 5, we had the place to ourselves. So it was super fun. And just to watch my 8-year-olds learn how to ski is pretty exciting for me. Who else has a happy dollar?
I have one. I'm happy to be reporting today and letting you know what's happening with the projects in Uganda.
Yes.
And so I have some photos from there. And with a little luck, if my computer skills are up to it, I'll have a chance to show them to you. So I appreciate that. And that's a good thing for me. And I hopefully for all of us, because we're all involved in that.
Yes, Lauren has been doing a tremendous amount of work on the behind the scenes to ensure that this project checks all the box and all the T's are crossed, and literally cash is getting into the one hand to the other hand into the ground to get some water flowing. So we'll hear all about that in just a little bit. Thank you so much, Lauren. Anyone else?
You don't have to do $20. You can do a $1 one if you need to. I'm just asking, suggesting. But I will put another 20 in. I put a 20 in last week, Kathy. It'll be coming to you. One of the best weekends for guys that like cars just happened. So this is late. But next year at this time, you gotta tune in the Barrett Jackson Auto, and you get to see cars from 1918 to 2023 being sold at the #1 auction for cars in the world. They sold 1,800 cars in 5 days. The most expensive one I saw auctioned off was $3 million. The least expensive one I saw was $12,000. And it was everywhere from the first off the line Corvette for next year to Wayne's, what was the car he had in, can't even remember, Wayne and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the Pacer. The actual Pacer that was in the movie was sold, and it went for something like $60,000.
Oh my gosh.
So I owe you $40 now, Kathy.
Right. Thanks.
I'm the
Kim.
one who should pay because I was at Barrett's this past weekend. And it was amazing.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you everybody for your generosity. Definitely making a difference. Those dollars that we carry around in our pocket can do really good work. All right, with that, I'm going to invite Lauren to give us a little bit more update on the Uganda project.
Okay. I am going to, can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay. The project is moving water for about 9.2 kilometers. That's probably what, 5.5 or 6 miles, I would guess, someplace in that range. And this is just a little bit of what it takes for all that to happen. I've got here is at the end of all these rolls of pipes that you're going to see in a little bit, you have to hook one to the next one. And so they brought out this automated system. You can see here on the screen where they've got an electric drill, but in order to power the electric drill, they've got a gas powered generator. So they have electricity out there in the middle of nowhere. And so this is a little look at what they're doing out there to join these things together. I think David got a little carried away with the machinery tech part of this. And so we'll get rid of that one for right now. This gives you a little idea of some of the people that are out there, and they're working along this road. Let's see, you can see the road here.
Lauren, we've got about 10 pictures all in one on the screen. We don't have individual pictures.
Didn't that one go away?
No.
You should just have one. Thank you for telling me. Okay, let me go back to this thing, and what I'm going to do is say, go away. Geez, now everything went away. Tells you something about my acuity with putting this all together. Okay, well, let's have this one go away then. Now, you got one picture?
We just have you. So you'll have to reshare your screen.
Ah. Okay. My apology for all this. I thought I had this all planned and organized and figured out. Tell you what, why don't you move ahead, and I'll see if I can get this organized a little bit better.
Okay, all right.
And we'll try again later.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lauren. We will now go ahead and move on to this week's program, and I'll ask David Cray if he would like to introduce our speaker.
Sure, Jenny, thank you. So part of the green team, we've been talking about having a program a couple times a year about green things, and I know the city of Roseville has been doing some great things with their sustainability. So we asked Noelle Bakken to come talk to us. She is the sustainability intern for the city of Roseville. She is currently a graduate student in the Urban and Regional Planning Program at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. She's focusing on environmental planning. She's also a resident of Roseville. So I'd like to introduce Noelle Bakken from the city of Roseville.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on here today. I will share my screen. Hopefully that is going to be successful. 1 second. All right. Okay, so yeah, like everyone mentioned, I'm going to be giving a brief update on what Roseville's been up to for sustainability. I've been the sustainability intern since November of 2021, so I'm still pretty new, so just kind of keep that in mind. I can't take credit for most of the accomplishments I'm reporting on today, but we have a lot of exciting things coming up, so we're excited to share it. First, I wanted to put together a timeline of kind of where we've been and where we're going. So in 2014, we joined the Green Step Cities program, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a program the state of Minnesota helps individual cities meet various sustainability goals to become progressively more sustainable and environmentally conscious. So you can go from step 2 through step 5. So we joined that program in 2014. As part of that program in 2015, we joined what's called B3 benchmarking. So we were able to add several of our city buildings into that system where we track our utility bills and see where our energy usage is. It helps us to identify areas of opportunities and see kind of which buildings are our worst offenders for energy usage. In 2017, we worked with the University of Minnesota on several capstone projects with students. So from that, we developed a complete streets policy that was later adopted by City Council, and we also did a vulnerable population assessment. In 2019, we installed solar on 3 different city-owned buildings. So City Hall, our maintenance building, and our fire station all have solar panels. We also achieved Sol Smart Gold, which is a designation cities can achieve for making it easy for residents to install solar and breaking down as many barriers as possible for getting those regulations approved. And that was also one of our goals in our comp plan. So we've achieved that well in advance of our 2040 goal. So that was great news. In 2019, we also achieved Green Step 3 in the Green Step Cities program. 2020 was another exciting year. We achieved Green Step 4 for adding some additional tracking in our reporting worksheet. We also started the Partners in Energy program with Excel, which I'm going to be talking a little bit more about soon. And then in 2021, we achieved Green Step 5, which is the highest step you can get, which was a great accomplishment. And we also won the Best of B3 benchmarking award for showing significant improvement in our city tracking buildings. So we won that award in the local government segment. So I was able to present last month to the Green Step workshop about what we've been working on with B3. A few other more detailed items that we've been up to in the last couple of years. We did implement an environmentally preferable purchasing policy citywide. We also received a Minnesota Green Corps member in September of 2020, and that individual helped implement our voluntary benchmarking program where businesses can track their energy usage in a specific website. We also promoted a biz recycling program through Ramsey County. As I mentioned, we applied for the Excel Partners in Energy program. We expanded compost collection in the city, and we also, as I mentioned before, we achieved Green Step 4 in 2020. In 2021, we continued implementation in our Partners in Energy program. So we established an energy action team made up of residents and business owners in the community. That team helped us develop an energy action plan, which we started implementing last year. Our Green Corps member helped create the framework for our voluntary energy building benchmarking program. We added more buildings to our B3 benchmarking program, which B3 and voluntary benchmarking, they're very similar. They're both kind of the same idea, but two different tracking systems. So that can be confusing. We're now tracking 12 city buildings in that B3 program, and really all that's left for us to track is things like street lights and other types of infrastructure that aren't buildings. And again, we became Green Step 5 and we won the Best of B3. Things that are coming up in 2022, we're going to continue implementing our energy action plan, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. Our voluntary benchmarking program has kind of fallen by the wayside in the last few months, but we'd like to bring that back out into the forefront. We'd like to continue our Green Step 5 status. So once you reach Green Step 5, you're not cemented there. You have to continue to show improvement. So we're going to continue working on that. We're also working on expanding our EV charging infrastructure. We're looking, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit, as well as expand EVs in our own fleet. So currently Roseville has one plug-in hybrid in our fleet. It's a Mitsubishi Outlander, but we're looking for opportunities to add more EVs as well. And just as a reminder, since we're here at the Rotary today, we worked with Eureka and the Rotary in 2019 to make Taste of Rose Fest a zero waste event. So we're looking forward to hopefully continuing that partnership in 2022. And we're hoping that everyone will be healthy and back to in-person events later this year. I wanted to highlight what the city's sustainability goals are, and these I pulled out of our 2040 comprehensive plan. And they're mostly aligned with what the state of Minnesota's goals are as well. So by 2050, we'd like to achieve 80% reduction in our citywide greenhouse gas emissions. And by 2040, we would like to be sourcing 100% of our city operation electricity from renewable resources. And 25% of those we would like to have generated from on-site electricity. And then by 2030, we'd like to produce enough inbound solar within city limits to meet 10% of citywide electricity use by 2030. So how are we doing on the path to those goals? Currently, we receive 58% of our citywide operations from renewable sources. We're subscribed to a couple of community gardens. We're currently 42% short of that goal, but we do have about 1.2 million kilowatts coming in a new community solar garden that's coming on site or coming online in later this year. So by the end of this year, we should be about 89% towards meeting that goal well in advance of 2040. As far as city on-site operations, we are currently 24% to that goal of 25%, which is a little bit confusing. But we need to increase our on-site electricity generation by 76% to meet that goal. And this might be kind of small, but this is our EV charging stations proposal. So we currently have 9 EV charging stations within city limits. We're looking to add an additional, I think it's 6 or 7, including one on city property. But we're looking at mostly adding them at parks because those are places where people can stop and charge for an hour or 2 while they go recreate, and then they can get a little bit of charging from that situation. So we're very early in the planning stages for that right now, but hopefully we'll have more information to share sooner than later. And additional things that we're going to be working on this year. So as I mentioned, we did implement an environmentally preferable purchasing policy. However, we have not done a whole lot of action actually getting that in the works. So I'm going to be doing an audit of our supply room and recent purchase orders to see what opportunities we have to make some better choices in the next year. As far as organics recycling, we're also looking to expand that out. We'd like to add organics recycling options on site within city property, as well as hopefully expand out to a curbside service later this year. So more to come on that. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about Partners Energy, which is the primary focus of what I'm doing here with Roseville through my time. So I'm here through the end of December. It's a 2-year program with Excel where they help us develop and implement our energy plan goals. So for the first 4 to 6 months, you're developing that plan with the community, figuring out where your focus areas are going to be. And then beyond that, the remainder of the time is spent implementing that plan. And then the hope is that you don't just kind of stop all that work once the plan is over. You want to continue implementation and reach more and more aggressive goals following the end of the 2 years. So the Energy Action Plan is one of the biggest deliverables from this program so far. So it's kind of our ultimate planning phase outcome, and that is our goal for like the community's vision for what we want to see our energy usage in the next couple of decades. And this plan was developed by our Energy Action team, and it was adopted by City Council in June 2021. So our 4 goals for Partners in Energy, first of all, is residential energy efficiency. So encouraging things like usage of home energy squad to weatherize homes and reduce energy bills. Let residents know about different rebates available for energy efficient furnaces, AC units, and other different appliances, as well as insulation is another important aspect for increasing efficiency. We'd also like to engage with energy burdened households. So that's anybody that's spending more than 6% of their annual income on energy bills. So similar to residential energy efficiency, we'd like to encourage home energy squad visits to help those households reduce their energy bills, as well as let them know about the energy assistance program where they can get assistance with their bills. The third tier is business energy efficiency. So businesses make up 63% of our energy usage in Roseville city limits. So we have a lot of opportunities for businesses to try to reduce their energy. There's a lot of great programs available, and we're going to be doing some more outreach in the coming months to try to let small and medium businesses in the area know about what's available. And finally, our 4th area of focus is increasing adoption of renewables, both for commercial and residential properties. That includes on-site solar as well as different subscription options. Some of the things we worked on so far with Partners in Energy. Since we started the implementation phase mid last year, we sent a mailing out to 1,200 potential energy burdened households. Those are homes that are below the median household value in Roseville that haven't had any kind of work done in the last 30 years. We've also worked with Keystone Communities. We had some flyers available at the November food shelf event. We also have flyers available by the Every Meal food bags in the fire station in Roseville. For the commercial and business side of things, we presented to the Roseville Business Council in October to let them know about what's coming up. We've also started partnering with the Twin Cities North Chamber of Commerce to let businesses know about our programs that are available. And finally, in mid-January, we had a webinar with about 35 residents to let them know about different renewable subscription services. Mostly what we wanted to talk about was wind source, which is you pay a small monthly fee to get some or all of your energy sourced from wind. We're trying to get 30 people signed up for that by Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, we don't have an update on those numbers yet because Excel's reporting system has changed. And so hopefully we're going to have those numbers soon so we can let everyone know how we're doing. But we had good engagement during that webinar. So hoping we get some good numbers out of that. In 2022, this year, we're hoping to do some additional webinars and outreach for some of these focus areas. As I mentioned, we'd really like to start going door to door and working more with small and medium businesses on how they can increase their efficiency and their operations. Hopefully the pandemic calms down a little bit so we can have a table present at city events to reach out directly with homeowners and business owners. And I'm also working a lot with different volunteer groups within Roseville to try to connect the dots, because I'm finding there's a lot of people that are interested in what Roseville's doing and interested in climate change action, but everybody's working in separate silos. So I've been meeting with things like Resilient Roseville and Do Good Roseville to try to get those volunteers organized. Next steps outside of Partners in Energy that we're working on, we would like to get a climate action plan put in place. So we're doing some exploration on how we can achieve that. Climate action plan is going to be a little bit different from an energy action plan because it's a little bit more broad than just focusing on energy resources. We'd like to, since we adopted the complete streets policy, we'd like to determine which corridors in the city would be good fits for that design standard. We would like to look for opportunities where we can reduce turf grass use in the city and also increase pollinator habitats. With urban forestry, we're interested in doing a much larger assessment of our city canopy with trees and see where we might need to add tree coverage or where we might need to remove some smaller trees if we want to make some room for some more solar installations. So we haven't really done a deep dive on that. So we have a lot of opportunities to look into what we can do there. As I mentioned with our business energy usage tracker or building energy usage in B3, we'd like to increase what we're tracking in there. So as I mentioned, we're tracking 12 different buildings, but we have opportunities to add street lights and things like that. We want to continue researching what renewable energy options we can explore through the city to increase our solar or to increase our on-site energy generation to try to meet that goal of 25% on-site. Continue to research sustainable building policies and construction codes. There's a lot of other cities around the metro that are doing interesting things. So we have a lot to learn from those cities and counties. We're going to continue to support the different policies that we put forth in our 2040 comp plan, specifically the ones that apply to what the work we're doing is in the Chapter 9 Resilience and Environmental Protection chapter. So if you're not familiar with that, it is available on the city's website, and I can provide a link. And then we're going to continue that expansion of our organics and food scraps recycling in the city. And with that, I will conclude and ask if there's any questions. And I realize that's a lot of information that I just threw your way, so I know it's a lot to process.
Noelle, can we shut the video down so we can see the screen? Maybe there might be some folks with hands up.
Yeah, 1 second. There we go.
There we go.
I am gonna put my contact information in the chat too, in case anybody doesn't feel like piping up here and wants to email me directly.
I of course will pipe up. Hello, Noel. This is Mary Jo.
Hello.
This is Mary Jo McGuire from the county. And just thank you so much for all your work. This is very exciting that Roseville has embarking on all of this. And so we, of course, are wanting to be big partners in all of this. And you've already mentioned, you know, our organics recycling, our biz recycling, actually our complete streets is something that we do with active living. So there's lots of intersections, and I'm just excited that you're working with us on all of these, and really excited about the organics collection, because many of you know, and at some point I'll get on the program to talk to you about our very exciting durable compostable bags, where you collect all the organics in a blue bag and then you put it in the garbage. So, but we do need at all of our public facilities a place to gather those organics. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that Roseville's doing that, and just thank you for that. So just a couple of questions, Noel, if you could. So talk about you're in which department in Roseville? I'm just curious, you know, the extent of that. You didn't say you're an intern, did you? Or you're full time and you're doing this work?
No, I have an intern. I'm working part-time. The hope is that we would like to approve a full-time position to do this kind of work. But to answer your first question, I am under the Public Works Engineering Department. So my supervisor is Ryan Johnson, who's our environmental manager. And working about 20 hours a week, which is about as much as I can handle with also a full-time course load.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good job. Roseville, I'm sure would love to bring you on full time. So we just hope that happens at some point. And there is another question here, but I do have a question about the solar energy. You said we're farming, or we're getting it from Washington County. So do we not have enough space in Ramsey County? Do we have solar farms in Ramsey County that you can get it? I just don't know that much about our solar energy abilities.
I think they're the impression, and I'm honestly not totally sure offhand, but I think the impression I've been getting, especially working with Excel, is that there is a much greater demand for solar energy than there is available. So one of the things that we talked about with our subscription offerings, everybody's really interested in community solar gardens and that sort of thing, but there's just not enough available where they keep selling out of their subscriptions. There's another new subscription thing that they're offering too. I think it's called Renewable Connect. And that one's also waitlisted. So that's why we've been pushing wind source, because I think that's really the only block of energy that's readily available. And I think that's why we're going out to Washington.
Well, I'm glad you're finding it somewhere, and we of course stand by ready. We want to do a lot more in Ramsey County. I think, just to let all of you know, that last week we had a strategic planning session, and the focus of it was on our sustainability as a county, the climate change that's going on, and how we can be stronger stewards of our environment and working with our communities. So this is going to be our big push. We're already doing a lot of it, but we really are going to push even more. So we're looking forward to being partners with you, with everyone on this screen. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
I think
you,
we have a question from Lynn.
Hi, Noel. My name is Lynn, part of Roseville community as well. And thank you so much for being here and sharing what is happening. I've been watching the Green Step program, I guess, up until the pandemic, because I didn't realize that had been accomplished to step number 5. So I am excited to see that as well, and want to put in kudos to the city of Roseville for adopting that whole program back in 2012, 2014, you said it, I can't remember.
Yeah, we started in 14, yep.
In 14 and continuing with it through those 5 steps. I think that really says something about our city across the nation as well, to take on that program and to work through it. As my colleagues here know, through Rotary, I'm very much interested in the composting aspect, because I know that 40% of food, 40% of landfills are filled with food, and that turns into methane gas. And it's one of the major causes of greenhouse gases. And so composting, I think, is just really important. I'm thrilled that the composting site was put in Roseville here up on Dale Street. And I use that regularly, and I'm grateful for that. I would like to make a push with whatever you can do with your internship. I want to make a push for composting in the parks and recreation buildings. I noticed on your screen, I took a picture of it here, that there's expanding and promoting compost collection in city buildings. The parks and recreation buildings are, when they are used a lot for food, you know, for the gatherings of people and the celebrations that happen. And we used one of the buildings here as a Rotary Club, the Cedar Home Golf Course, actually it was. And it was wonderful to have the recycling and the trash bin, but there was no composting bin. We met there for lunch, you know, every Monday. And so I would highly support any support or push you can go toward with the parks and recreation buildings in Roseville. I think that would be making a huge statement about what we value here in Roseville. But again, thank you for being here, and I'm glad for what you're doing. And if there's ever a chance to once you get into this work a little bit more, to tell a good personal story of something you've experienced through what you're doing, I would welcome that as well also. But thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I know one of our biggest focuses is we do want to add on-site organics collection within city buildings is kind of one thing we're looking into. But I agree, there's a huge opportunity to do that within the parks department too. And I am working on like putting together some new educational materials, at least for going out with the park permits, so that people know, you know, where to recycle specifically, so we don't lose a lot of waste during those events. But I think, like you said, there's a lot of opportunities to do on-site organics too. So it's just a matter of resources, I think, from that point.
I appreciate that first step. It takes steps to do that. So thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions? David, yes.
I have a comment from Mary Jo. You do own a piece of land in Ramsey County that is in Roseville. That'd be a great place for a solar array. It was behind the temple of Aaron Cemetery on Larpenter, between the dog park and that. There's a big piece of property that's owned by the county that all they do is dump sand from sweeping streets there. It sits on a hill and it's no trees. It would be a great place for a solar farm right there in Ramsey County and Roseville. So
thanks, David. I'm writing this down because it's on my list now of as we you know have these discussions on, okay, what can we do as a county? I mean, we can just add more opportunities for that, and that's a great location. And give me the cross streets again. Where is it? It's behind.
Well, it's on Larpenter. It's on Larpenter and Kent.
Oh yeah, behind the dog park there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that
so
park.
the Kent has that.
Right.
They have a hazmat pickup there, but behind that's a big.
Right.
Open flat land that's no trees, that owned by the county.
Yep. It's the waterworks. Well, it was city. Yeah. Well, it's a combination of land back there. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
We every chance we get, I think we should be looking at it. And you've inspired me now to make sure
it's a great location. It's sitting on top of the hill with no trees. Yep.
Good connection. All right. Let's see, Jan also has a question.
I was in listening to your talk. I remember you were talking about there was a meeting where people could learn how to subscribe into I think it was a recycling electrical or system. And I'm wondering if you have that available as a link that we can look at online.
You know what I do? Let me, while we're talking, I'll grab it out of my email and I'll put it in the chat. We've been meaning to add it to our website. And that's another area that I'm going to be working on while I'm here too, is getting that our sustainability website, which I did link in the chat as well. We'd like to get that a little bit more up to date and easier to navigate, but I will grab that link and I'll put it in the chat. So it's about renewable subscription services through Excel. So
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, well, George has got one. Yep, go ahead.
Several years ago, one or two buildings in Roseville were set up for geothermal energy saving. Can you comment on that?
Yep, so our geothermal system went in, I believe, in 2008, and that was primarily put in to do the heating and cooling for the oval. And so the excess energy from that system provides heat for City Hall, fire station, and I think a couple of other buildings on the City Hall campus as well. So yeah, that's thanks for mentioning that. I didn't bring that up. That was pre my timeline, but yep, we do have a geothermal system.
Did we save any money on it?
I believe we did. I know when the fire station was built, it was having that geothermal already set up made the infrastructure to get their heating and HVAC system much cheaper to put together than it would have if we had to put an actual furnace in there. So it made that really efficient.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, we're so grateful, Noel, for your presentation today, and it's exciting work that the city is doing. And kind of on that same note, we, as part of all of our speakers, we make contributions to Rotary Woods and Rain Garden in Central Park Arboretum. So happy to be a part of that future thinking and planning along with you. So thanks again for your role in that. And I'm excited that we had you here.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And Lauren, I know that you'd like to give it a second go here since we've got a little bit of time.
Okay, well, let's try this. Now, can you see my screen?
Not quite yet. No.
No. Okay. Well, then let's not waste a lot more time with this. I'm inadequate for the task right now, and we'll try it again later or figure another alternative.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Again, thank you, Lauren, for your work. More successful work behind the scenes in other cases. So thank you so much for that.
Well,
All right.
maybe behind the scenes is where I belong.
All right. Okay. And then I'll ask Jan if you would share with us who our speaker is going to be next week.
Well, next week we are fortunate to have Paige Alborg from the Ramsey, Washington Metro Watershed District. Their motto is quality water leads to quality life. And they're going to come in and talk to us about how they help keep our waters in Roseville and in the northern suburbs pure and clean and good for us as recreational area, and also good for the wildlife and things around us. And how they get rid of things like the bad stuff, like, carp. Anyway, that's next week.
All right. Well, it'll be a great presentation, and thank you, Jan, for helping coordinate that. Any other business? I know we've got a couple of minutes here, but I don't have any. Otherwise, we have a chance to say thank you again for being a part of this great club. And it's amazing the impact that we make. And I really appreciate everyone's engagement. So with that, we will see you next week.